rehearsal day. I'm glad it's over. But I'm not done.
Whoa. Before you begin doing more work, are you familiar with the overtime practices under the Canadian Actors Equity Agreement?
No. What are these practices?
I'm glad you asked. So as you know, a work day for a stage manager is from when you first begin to work all the way to your final stage management work activity of the day. Whether that be rehearsal time, prep, etc., including all your breaks. The standard work week and work day will vary by province and by your contract. However, typically, the maximum workday is 13 hours before overtime, including breaks.
What if I have to go into overtime like right now? I have to prepare notes for the production departments for tomorrow morning, and it's already been a 13-hour long day.
That's a great question. Let's go through on how you would do that.
Now, ideally, you shouldn't be going into overtime. You should be planning out your day so that you don't have to incur any. However, if you're going into overtime for any of the following, rehearsal, performance, preparation, or production meetings, ideally you would seek approval from your approval contact before this occurs, or your engager scheduled this overtime for you. However, in the event that you have to get something done right then and there, and the approval contact cannot be contacted for approval, you may be able to appoint overtime to yourself. Remember, the stage manager has very limited privilege with this. It is not a loophole. Speaking of loopholes, your engager cannot have you absent for any necessary tech sessions, rehearsals, or for conducting work to ensure the safe operation of the production, just to cut overtime costs.
Also, overtime applies for meal break infringements, rest infringements, free day infringements, all that stuff.
Cool. Can we get back to where that applies to me now?
My bad. Let's get into it.
First, you're going to ask your approval contact for approval for overtime. Let them know why and how long it will take. Do this in writing because having a written record of overtime helps you to claim this afterwards. If it's verbal, have the approval contact give a written note about the overtime. If the approval contact says yes, good for you. You're now in overtime. Be sure to log this down in a timesheet or something similar. If the approval contact denies going into overtime, it is what it is. Just try to do the work another time, but walk away from the work for now. If you can't reach your approval contact, try to do the work as quickly as possible and email the approval contact about the possible overtime, just in case. You may be able to enter self-appointed overtime, but ask yourself the following. Is it really necessary to do the work at that point in time such that you cannot defer it? Is there no one else not in an overtime situation able to do the work instead, or do it at a different time? Can you really not reach your approval contact at that time? If you answered yes to all three of these, then go ahead with the work as quickly as possible to reduce the overtime penalty as much as possible for the theater. In the final 5 minutes, email your approval contact about the work you did, why you went into overtime for it, and why it was necessary, along with how long you spent. Do not leave this until later. Just remember, with overtime, you should not be going more than 16 hours a day.
In terms of pay, there are 2 pay scales. One for the Canadian Theatre Agreement and one for the Employee Standards Act. Depending on the work done, how long you've gone for, and your earnings, you may be entitled to either or, but not for both. Although you won't necessarily be paying yourself, it's good to check the CTA for this information.
Perfect. Any place I can find more information about this?
You can find more information in the description of this video and the links posted down below. And always remember,
your well-being is important. Don't do more overtime than you have to.